Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prahald Pr Supervijakacharya Ashtotra Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Go Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jaya Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtuki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha, Text 36. Yajamanyo Uvacha Swagatam Te Prasidesham Tubhyam Namaham Swagatam Te Prasidesha Tubhyam Namaham Swagatam Te Prasidesha Tubhyam Namaham Srinivasa Shriyam Kantayam Trahi Naham Srinivasa Shriyakantaya Trahinaha Srinivasa Shriyakantaya Trahinaha Tvam Rite Adisha Nangair Makaham Shobhate Tvamrite Adisha Nangair Maka Shobhate Tvamrite Adisha Nagnair Maka Shobhate. It's not Adisha, it's Adisha. Shisha Hina Kabando Yata Purushaha Shisha Hina Kabando Yata Purushaha Shisha Hina Kabando Yata Purushaha Yajamanya Uvacha Swagatam Te Prasidesha Tubhyam Namaham Srinivasa Shriyakantaya Tharinaham Tvamrite Adishanagnir Makha Shobhate Shrishahina Kabando Yata Purushaha Ejamani Uvacha Stand just this side of the fan. Swagate prasidesha Vyam Namaha Srinivasa Maharajis. Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha Srinivasa Shriya Kantayati Ahinam Tvamrite Adishan Agnir Makashobate Shri Jahina Kabando Yata Purushaha Yajamani, the wife of Daksha, Uvacha, prayed, Suagatam, auspicious appearance, Te, your, Prasida, become pleased, Isha, my dear Lord, Tubhyam, unto you, Namaha, respectful obeisances, Srinivasa, O abode of the goddess of fortune, Shriya, with Lakshmi, Kantaya, your wife, Trahi, protect, Na, us, Tvam, you, Rite, without, Adisha, O Supreme Controller, Na, not, Angai, with bodily limbs, Makaha, the sacrificial arena, Shobhate, is beautiful, Shisha Hinaha, without the head, Ka Bandha, possessed of only a body, Yatha, as Purushaha, a person. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you have appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as a body is not beautiful without the head. Please repeat after me. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you have appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as a body is not beautiful without the head. Purport: another name of Lord Vishnu is Yageshwara. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that all activities should be performed as Vishnu Yagya, for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Unless we please him, whatever we do is the cause of our bondage in the material world. This is confirmed herein by the wife of Daksha. Without your presence, the grandeur of this sacrificial ceremony is useless. Just as a body without the head, however decorated it may be, is useless. The comparison is equally applicable to the social body. Material civilization is very proud of being advanced, but it is actually the useless trunk of a body without a head. Without Krishna consciousness, without an understanding of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, any advancement in a civilization, no matter how sophisticated, is of no value. This is a statement in Hari Bhakti Siddhodaya 3.11. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Tapa Japa Apranayaiva Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. The purport is that sometimes when a friend or a relative dies, especially among lower class men, the dead body is decorated, dressed and ornamented. The body is taken in procession. That sort of decoration of the dead body has no actual value because the life force is already gone. Similarly, any aristocracies, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization without Krishna consciousness is as good as the decoration of a dead body. The name of the wife of Daksha was Prasuti, and she was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Her sister Devahuti was married to Kardama Muni and Kapila Dev. The Supreme Personality of Godhead became her son. Prasuti then was the aunt of Lord Vishnu. She was asking the favor of Lord Vishnu in an affectionate mode. Since she was his aunt, she sought some special favor. Also significant in this verse is that the Lord is praised with the goddess of fortune. Whenever Lord Vishnu is worshipped, naturally there is the favor of goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu is addressed as Amrita, transcendental. The demigods, including the demigods including Brahma and Lord Shiva, were produced after the creation, but Lord Vishnu existed before the creation. He is addressed therefore as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simply fruitive workers performing sacrifice for some material benefits. Long purport. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakya Shakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I'll just make it short because there's not much time. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhibhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Thai vasmi, najivami tvaivina. Iti vigya devitvam nayamam charanantikam mukam karoti vatsalam pangolangai degirim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Shri Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class. Here you can see Yajamani, or the wife of Daksha, praying to Lord Vishnu. So the living entities, especially the human beings, have a special requirement. There's a lot of living entities, 8,400,000 forms of living entities. But the human beings are expected more than just the regular human beings, regular living entities. What is that? That is, they are required to perform yagya. We are all required to perform yagya. Other living entities in the non-human form of the body, they are not required. Why? Why more tasks for us? More. Because naturally, the human beings are considered to have a superior intelligence, have more intelligent than other living entities. So when you have more intelligence, there is more responsibility. I don't want to quote Spider-Man here, but with more power comes more responsibility. Similarly, with more intelligence comes more responsibilities. The expectation on you is higher. Now we are required to perform yagya. If we don't perform yagya, it becomes our existence is sinful. And by performing yagya, whatever material desires we have or whatever needs we have is fulfilled. And also, it sets up the pathway to achieve devotional service to Lord Krishna. So that is the basic requirement expected from human beings. And because we have superior intelligence, we also have a tendency to misuse it. So animals don't misuse their intelligence, or whatever intelligence they're given. You have a cow, the cow just performs its duty. It eats grass, gives milk, looks after the calf. He doesn't go and get drunk. Doesn't do frivolous activities. Similarly, even if you take a tiger or a lion, they have prescribed activities and they do not break those natural codes, which is designated for them. But human beings, on the other hand, have a tendency to behave worse than the animals. We have the tendency. Even though we have superior intelligence, we have a tendency to behave even lower than the animals. For example, meat eating is forbidden for human beings. Eating grass is forbidden for a tiger. The tiger would never eat a grass. It doesn't matter how hungry it is, it won't. But human beings, on the other hand, even though it's forbidden, they will eat meat. Because we misuse that intelligence. So, one, taken birth in the human form of life, is mandatory for them to perform yagya. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that when I created, what is that verse? 2.10? Can't remember. Sahayagya praja shishtva. So when I did the creation, I also created yagya for the human beings to perform. And by performing this yagya, one gets all the shreya. In the next verse he uses the word shreya. He gets all shreya. Shreya means all auspiciousness. Today is Akshaya Tritiya. People are going on about auspiciousness. So here Krishna says how you get auspiciousness in your life by performing yagya. And in the next verse he says, if you don't perform yagya, you're called a stena. Stena means a thief. You're just stealing. He doesn't say that to animals. He says that to human beings. So here, Daksha came back to his senses and is performing yagya. So this yagya, when Krishna says, even though he gives in Bhagavad Gita option, the similar verse 2:11 to 12, he says that you worship demigods. He gives injunctions to worship demigods in the form of yagya to achieve your desires. There is injunctions in Vedas. So if you read Vedas, and I'm sure we don't have time to read Vedas nowadays, but there's mention of a lot of demigods and there's provisions to worship them. If you want this particular thing, if you want money, worship Kuvera. If you want a beautiful wife, worship Uma. If you want this, worship education, worship Saraswati. There's so many injunctions in Vedas. But when you read Vedas, even though there's a lot of demigods mentioned, but Vishnu is mentioned more than any of them. Reference to Vishnu is much more in all these scriptures. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, if people have material desires, they can, they worship. But he calls them, even though there is injunction Vedas, but he addresses them as Alpamedasam. What is that verse? What is the first one? Antavanta imatesha tadbhavati alpamedasam. Antavanta. Anta means items which are perishable, temporary. So, if a person has desires to attain temporary, perishable objects, then he can worship demigods. And Krishna calls them alpamedasam, less intelligent. So he pretty much says, there are injunctions to worship demigods, to attain perishable results. But if you do that, you consider yourself not so intelligent. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. And even these worship processes, when if it is properly done, or the way it is properly done is that you worship demigod through the prasadam from Lord Krishna. If you have any Vedic sacrifices you perform, the final ahuti or the final offering is always given to Vishnu. He is the final benefactor. So you worship, even if a person has a desire to achieve certain things and you want to worship demigods, being an Alpamedasa, if he wants to worship, he has to make the offering to Lord Vishnu, and the remnants he offers to the demigods. That is the process. And even this process, Krishna again says in Bhagavad Gita, avidhi purvakam. It is not the direct method. It's an indirect method, avidhi purvakam, or a wrong method. The right method is, of course, worship Krishna. But if somebody has a desire, they worship the demigods for temporary needs. So the injunction is, even if one worships demigods, he has to worship Vishnu. Only by worshipping Vishnu, the demigod worship becomes complete. If he ignores Vishnu, and just worships demigod purely, it means his understanding is incorrect. He is thinking that the demigod is supreme. And with that understanding he worships, he doesn't get any results. He doesn't get even whatever he set forth. On the other hand, the whole sacrifice becomes destructive. Here you can see Daksha set out to perform a yagya. But all the demigods were there. There was Lord Brahma was there, Lord Shiva was there, Ashwini Kumaras, all the demigods were there. But the sacrifice turned out to be a disaster. To the extent he got killed. His head was removed. So even one performs yagya for temporary benefits, he has to worship the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. Without that, here Prabhupada quotes Hari Bhakti Siddhodaya. It's a famous verse Prabhupada quotes quite often. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Thapa Japa Apranayayizva Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. It is done, Mandanam Lokaranjanam, just to entertain people. There's no real benefit you're getting just by worshipping demigods without recognizing Lord Vishnu. Now, if you go to any traditional temples in India, I'm not quite familiar with North Indian temples. South Indian temples, if you go to even demigod temples, you go to Madurai, a very grand, big temple where Meenakshi is worshipped. But there is always an altar of Lord Vishnu within the temple complex. Same thing in Kanchipuram, in Kamakshi temple. Even the presiding deity is Parvati, but there is always altar of Lord Vishnu. So people come to worship demigods, but they also worship the Supreme Lord. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, whatever the worship they are performing to the demigods become sanctified. Become sanctified. So these are people with material desires. But devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, they think all this material sacrifices or desire to achieve material opulence as an extra burden. So they voluntarily give up their material possession. And what to speak of having material desire? Their primary goal is to understand Krishna. What is that? What is that verse? My memory. I preserve what you have and lack. Sorry, and bring what you lack. What is that verse? Sorry, what? Yep. Provide what? I forgot this. Ananya chintayanto mayajana paripasate. So devotees know that the Lord is constantly protecting them. By just ananya chintayanto ma, by constantly remembering, worshipping Lord. Who constantly remembers and worship Lord? Devotees. They constantly remembering and worshipping. Krishna promises that whatever a person lacks, he will bring. He will bring. And whatever person already possesses, he will protect it. He will protect it. So that's a promise Krishna gives. So devotees are not particularly concerned about performing ritualistic ceremonies to achieve material benefits. On the other hand, even though Krishna promises that I will protect what you have, they are very keen to give up their material possession. You can see examples like Raghunath Das Goswami. Even though born in a very aristocratic, rich family, a family of landlords, he voluntarily gave up his material needs. He didn't want to be associated with material needs. What to speak of, is avidhi purvakam, and where people worship demigods to achieve things, and there is pure devotees who voluntarily give up whatever possession they have, because they know anything material is just a burden. It's just going to make their trip harder. Say, for example, if you're running a marathon, and marathon is achieving Krishna, going back to Godhead, and an expert runner will just take the basic needs, what he needs. He will just take the minimal so that he can survive the journey. Anything unwanted is actually a hindrance because he has to carry it around through the entire course of his marathon. So he will give up. But an inexperienced person, amateur runner, so it's 42 miles, so I might as well, how long is a marathon? 42 kilometers or 42 miles? Anybody? Yeah. They might want to have a backpack, they might have some snack, water, whatever, a magazine to read on the way. Headphones. They have more things. And what they forget is having more things, it means I have to carry it throughout the journey. So it's harder. Eventually, it becomes heavier and heavier, and the more you start accumulating, the more the baggage you carry doesn't stop. The more you have, what is that? They say clutter attracts more clutter in the house. If you want to keep a simple house, you just basic things, good. But if you start putting things, it becomes more and more clutter. You gotta shelf and you want to fill it up with china, then you go to different places and you start buying souvenirs, and you start filling up the house and it starts collecting dust. Similarly, the more when an individual starts thinking, I need this, I need this, I need this, by the nature of how things work in this world, you keep needing more and more and more, and you start collecting more and more and more. And before you know, you completely forgot about the marathon. You're busy collecting things, and you're completely distracted. So, an intelligent person with superior intelligence, human beings, understanding their goal in life, that the human form of life is quite rare, and we get this human form of life after many births. When they achieve that, they should be focused on the goal, the end line, which is going back to Krishna, achieving Krishna, and be considerate of accumulating objects or material desires, and see how much it is hindering, distracting us from our journey, how burdening it becomes to our journey. If you don't, if you don't do that, and if you focus on, or if you get distracted by material opulences, then it takes longer for the goal to be achieved. So this is for devotees. The civilization, of course, we live in, we work, is purely a materialistic civilization. They have no purpose of understanding God. It's all about sense gratification, and it means they are decorating the dead body. So one has to be, a devotee has to be also very careful in associating with this material nature, because by wrong association, we pick up wrong habits, So our dealing with the material world should be very measured, the minimum. Otherwise, dealing with the material nature, with the materialistic people, with no God consciousness, you get contaminated, you get polluted by their consciousness, and you start also cultivating material desires and ignoring the goal of life. So therefore, here, Prashuti, the wife of Daksha and the daughter of Swayambhava Manu, is requesting the Supreme Personality of Godhead that even though these priests and participants of the yagya are performing these activities for material needs, for material desire, purify them, give them superior intelligence, purify them, and make them your devotees. Make them your devotees. So, as an advanced devotee, Prashuti understands the real goal of life, even though her husband is very keen in performing ritualistic ceremonies. But she, being a daughter of Swayambhava Manu is Sakti Avesha avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the empowered personality. And she was trained like her sister, Devahuti. Prashuti is also very is trained. So she understands the intricacies of the scriptures. She knew that all this material sacrifices, what her husband is performing, is just a mere distraction. It is not the goal. And she understands the goal is to worship Krishna. And she is praying to the Lord that please, make them pure devotees, make them Vaishnavas. And instead of becoming fruitive workers for material benefits, make them Vaishnavas. Make them Vaishnavas. So this is the prayer by Prashuti. Even if, how do we put it? I mean, as we discussed, the humans are required to perform yagya. The injunction is there. But again, we live in Kali Yuga. We have to perform yagya. But the yagya is prescribed in the Vedas. We are not in a position to perform. Most of these yagyas, because of our limited resources, we don't have the capability to perform. The praise, the ingredients, the ghee, we don't have any of those. So what happens to us? It is recommended that we perform yagya. So mercifully, Mahaprabhu has incarnated, and he has given the Sankirtan yagya. Sankirtan Pr. So in this age of Kali Yuga, devotees perform Sankirtan yagya. Devotees, non-devotees, well, anybody and everybody, has to perform yagya. So the recommendation in this age is Sankirtan yagya. And by performing Sankirtan yagya, one doesn't remain a stena, one doesn't remain a thief in this age of Kali Yuga. So Mahaprabhu has initiated the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra as the yagya for this age. And we devotees perform that yagya, and we also preach, propagate this Sankirtan movement. Without this Sankirtan movement, the material world, the materialistic people, they live their life as a trunk of a body without a head. Trunk of a body without a head. So that is the status of the materialistic civilization. So we devotees, distribute book, go on Harinam, and distribute the holy name and the Sankirtan process. So thanks to Mahaprabhu, we get to perform yagya, even with all the misqualifications, and we also have the opportunity to distribute this to the rest of the world. I'll stop here. If you have any questions or comments. Well, then Daksha was treating himself as supreme more than anybody else. He thought he has achieved a great opulence, and that he is, there's no need for him to respect others. I don't know the exact mood of him about others, but when I was making a statement, I was talking about the general public. So we can say the Hindus, some of them, they worship demigods, and for them, demigods, whatever the demigod they've decided is the supreme for them. But that is not the process. Even to worship demigods, that is not the process. The process, even to worship demigods, is to understand Vishnu is supreme, and they're worshipping this particular demigod just to get a particular benefit. So that should be the real understanding. And the process is set up in such a way that a person one day wakes up and says, the penny drops and says, why, knowing that Vishnu is supreme, why am I worshipping the demigod? Let me just worship Vishnu himself directly. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says even that is good. What is that? Chaturvida bhajate mam jana sukritino arjuna. There's 4 kinds of people approach me. Even somebody approaches me for material benefits, they are sukritino. They are considered okay. They will relatively quickly come to me, compared to people who are just worshipping demigods for material benefits. Even the demigods are annoyed with them, because they know it's like, it's like you go and bother somebody who don't have the capacity to provide. You keep annoying them, and they have to go and ask their superior to just help you out. They feel annoyed, if you just worship them. And they can't accept the offerings you make them, considering they are supreme. So the whole thing is convoluted. It's what is it? Anyway, that's out of context. So worshipping demigods, considering them as supreme, is wrong. It's not avidhi purvakam, as Krishna says. Avidhi purvakam means it's just a long process. Like, for example, if you want to go from Sydney to New Zealand, you just jump on a plane and there's a direct flight to New Zealand. But you can also say, I'll buy a round the world ticket from Sydney, I'll go to Bangkok or KL or Singapore, and then from there I'll take a flight to Dubai, and then I'll take a flight to US, and then from there I'll take a flight to Santiago, and then I'll fly to New Zealand. You can do that. Krishna says that is avidhi purvakam. But just worshipping demigods, not recognizing Vishnu, that is sinful. And that's what Daksha has done. He has ignored Vishnu, and Vishnu was not present in the sacrificial arena, even the other demigods were present, and he went ahead and performed devotional yagya, which seemingly looked like devotional service, but he broke all the injunctions of not respecting the fellow Vaishnavas, which is Lord Shiva, and ended up losing his head. There's one thing called worshipping demigods and the processes which one has to follow. Even devotional service to Vishnu, what is that famous verse from Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai, from some Yamala, what is that? It's quoted in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidimbina, Ekantaki Hari Bhakti Tat Utpataya Eva Kalpate. Even devotional service to Lord Vishnu, Rupa Goswami stresses this. Even devotional service to Vishnu has to be performed according to the injunctions of Shruti, Smriti, Pancharatra, Puranas, Vidhis. So we have to follow all those injunctions. Just because I worship Vishnu, I'll just do it in my own way. He says only will cause chaos in the society. What to speak of worshipping demigods? Do it make sense?
One of the earliest Srila Prabhupada said that Daksha was of the understanding that he wanted to bypass Lord Shiva and some demigods, but directly wanted to please Lord Vishnu.
Yeah, that is Shruti, Smriti, Pranadi, Pancharatri, Vidimbina. He is trying to do devotional service by not following the injunctions of the scriptures, by disrespecting Lord Shiva.
You also mentioned about the Sankirtan Yajna.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand, can we perform various things like Narasimha Yajna, Shanti Yajna, etc.
We perform Shanti Yagya. Is it? Okay. I don't know what is cooked up. Look, devotees know the Sankirtan Yagya is supreme for this age of Kali Yuga. We perform other yagyas as auxiliary activities. It's not a primary activity. So, Narsinga Chaturdashi comes. If you don't perform Narsinga Yagya, you won't go to hell. Or by performing Nashing Yagya, it's not like you're going to become a pure devotee. But by performing Sankirtan Yagya, you're not going to hell, and you are becoming a pure devotee. Does that make sense? So Sankirtan Yagya is mandatory. Other yagyas is optional. Other yagyas is optional. It's not. I mean, and again, one should not confuse yagya, sacrifices mentioned in these contexts, to certain rituals grahastha has to perform. There's Garbhadana Samskara, there is, Annaprashna, Simantoshana. These are all angas of devotion service curated by the acharyas for Vaishnavas. Those things which are recommended. It's advised that one perform while performing Sankirtan Yagya. So what's curated by Sanatana Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas or in Sat Kriya Sara Deepika, they are not ritualistic yagyas for material benefits. These are purificatory ceremonies recommended for people in certain ashram to perform. So don't confuse things as well. So just want to make it clear. We don't usually perform Shanti Yagya, this and that. I don't know where this come up from. I've been doing yagyas for all my adult life. In Mayapur, we used to perform the Panchasukta Yagyas to keep up the tradition, as Brahmanas perform fire sacrifices, and also as a glamour preaching tool, young little boys performing nice yagya in Mayapur on a regular basis. When locals visit, it's very attractive. So we perform those, but not anyway making the Sankirtan Yagya as a concession. And that is always dominant, and the other ones are nice to have. It's like if you have rice, dal and sabji, it's nice to have some pickle on the side. But just need to know the position of the pickle. If you just end up eating pickle, then you'll get a stomachache. So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Vanchakalpatribhya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah Anantakoti Vaishnavavrinda ki, Jai.